Welcome to another lesson with Ming. Today we talk about frequency table, and the essential question is how can we best represent and compare data, right? So these are the questions that we want to talk about. Here we have two sets of data. Quiz number 1 and quiz number 2 represent discrete data, where discrete data is a set of data that can take on certain numbers. Here, a number of correct answers that students obtain in a particular test. So they can either have one correct answer or two correct answers, three correct answers, but not 2.5 or 2.25, for example. Alright, so we'll first concentrate in quiz number 1. How can we present this data better? Because at this particular format, this is not the best thing to view the data. So we can do this by using a frequency table. First, what we can do is to group the data up. So according to group them up using this particular grouping. So 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6. Each of this grouping has an interval of 2 units or 2 grades. And the mid-intervals are basically the value in the middle of the group. So for example, 1 comes from 0 plus 2 divided by 2. So it's 1. 3 comes from 2 plus 4 divided by 2. So it's 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And so we can fill this in. The mid-interval for the next one is 5. The next one is 7, 9, 11, and 13. And then we look at, for example, between 4 and 5, how many of them actually, frequency is the number of times this number show up in your data. For example, here 5 show up twice, so it's 2. Now 6 and 7, how many times they show up? So there's 1 6 here. There's another 2, another one here, 2. So there are 2, again 2. All right. And about 8 and 9, well, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There'll be 10 of them, and so on. So here, I'd like you to look at quiz number 2, and I'd like you to fill in this table. You may want to press pause, and when you've done, and press play again. So do you get all the answers correct? Here are the frequencies. All right. For my quiz number 1. So these are the frequencies. For quiz number 2, these are the frequencies. And observe that the total number here are not the same. The first one is 23. The second one is only 22. So the next question is that can we actually compare these two tables, the frequency tables? For example, in the group 6 to 8, here is there are 2 people getting these answers. And for quiz number 2 in the same group, there are also 2 people. There are also the frequency is also 2. Well, actually, you cannot really compare because the total frequencies for these 2 quizzes are different. In order to compare, we really need to use the concept of relative frequency. Relative frequency is basically the individual frequency divided by the total frequencies. So for example, the first 0 divided by 23, and the second group is also 0 divided by 23. The next group is 2 divided by 23, 2 divided by 23, and then 10 divided by 23, and then 5 divided by 23, and then 4 divided by 23. So these are all the relative frequency. At the moment, it's written in fractions. You can change them into, usually these are changed into decimal places. You might want to try and fill in this table. Try this question out, and when you're ready, press play again. Let's look at the answers. Do you get these answers right? So here's the relative frequency of the quiz number 1. Here's the relative frequency of quiz number 2. So right now, we can actually do the comparison because all of these relative frequencies now add up to number 1. If your relative frequencies do not add up to 1, then you have a problem. Please check the working again. All right. So at this stage, you should know and you should be able to explain to your friend what it means to have frequency and relative frequencies. And you should also be able to answer how do we represent and compare data. You please answer these questions and put it into your notebook and show it to your teacher. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Thank you for learning. Bye-bye.